The Tasha Frazier Show is brought to you by...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tasha Frazier Show. I know it's been a little while. As you guys know, I've had a lot going on. I mean, I'm human. It's life. It is what it is. So welcome again, the Tasha Haskins, now Frazier Show. And this is a show where we really get to dig deep with people that have some type of a title, or they're in the different industries or things like that. But this particular week, we are kicking off my Mrs. Globe Countdown to the Crown series. I'm very excited. You guys are going to be meeting queens from all across the globe, literally, in multiple different divisions. We have the Mrs. Globe division, which has been around for 25 years. This division is women who are, fit, married, mothers, doing their things all across the world. We have our Mrs. Classique Globe division. That's for women who are over the age of 45 and are also, fit, doing their thing, living all across the world. And we have our Mrs. Curvey Globe division. I'm a little partial to that division because I'm a former Mrs. Curvey Globe 2020. And that's for those women who have a little curvey going on all across the globe. They will also be participating. And everyone from all across the world is coming to Palm Springs, California to compete for these coveted titles. I am super excited. I cannot wait. So first of all, you guys, I know it's been a little while since I have had a show. I mean, life's been happening. You guys know I've gotten married. I published a book. Hello. Like, that's a big deal. You guys can go ahead and cheer for me. It's fine. But I've published a book, my Choose You, Change Your Path, Walk in Your Purpose, which was inspired actually while I was competing for the title of Mrs. Curvey USofA back in 2020. And I wanted to kind of figure out how to put my life all in one summation. And I came up with the actual phrase of it's never too late to choose you, change your path, walk in your purpose. And then that's kind of where my actual title was birthed from. And it actually published this year. Yay. Okay. So we have that going on as well. But I'm super excited to be back with you guys, but I'm more excited to be able to interview now. Okay. So my Mrs. Globe series, right, is supposed to have at least 10 delegates per series. But the queen you guys are going to be meeting, she's in Virginia. She's dope. She is Mrs. East Coast Globe. And she's like, look, I'm going to rise to the occasion. I'm going to do this interview, the first interview. Everyone else was like, let me wait and see how things go. Let me see. But she took me up on the challenge and she decided to be the queen on the very first episode. So I am super, super excited. I'm very, very, very excited to introduce to you guys Miss Shamila, and she is from Virginia. I'm going to bring her on with me right now. We get to put her on the hot seat. So the benefit of her being brave and choosing the first episode of my series is that she gets like pretty much the whole time, whereas everybody else is going to get 6-minute interviews. So she gets to have a lot of time with you guys to really get to know her, really hear her heart, understand why she's choosing to compete. This woman is a business owner. She has survived a very serious disease. She has also been a published model, and she chose pageantry to really come out as who she is today and share her story. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys to her. The beautiful Ms. Shamila.
Hi,
hello. Oh my gosh, you look so pretty.
Thank you so very much. How's
You are
everybody
welcome.
doing? How are you?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's been a minute since I've been on my show, so I'm kind of like getting back in my groove. And I'm sure my makeup artist is like, why didn't you call me? Well, listen, sis. I'm gonna call you. I promise I will. And so, but it's okay. I'm representing a little bit of, with Mrs. Globe. It's an international, global competition.
Right.
And so I'm representing some of my African roots. Although this is a Kenyan garment, I found out I was 42% Nigerian. Actually, the president of Mrs. Globe, I don't know if you know this, Shamila, she paid for me to find out where I'm actually from. I never knew it. And it was an actual like genetic like swab test. So not like a family tree, like my DNA. And I found out I was 42% Nigerian.
Wow.
So I'm super excited. It was super funny because I was like, I don't want to find out because there are some Americans that are from here, and I was like, I don't want to be from America. Please don't let me be one of the Americans, one of the Africans that came from America. I know that's so horrible. I said that on stage. I was like, Lord, please don't let me be American. And so okay. So anyway, so by the way, I'm kind of a DJ on my show right now. Like I do all kinds of things. So you're going to see comments popping up. You're going to see all kinds of things happening. So you have a lot of, look at that. You have Hey Queen and Teresa, who is our Mrs. Curvey Classique.
Yes. Hi, Teresa.
We have, there's Linnea again.
Hey, Linnea.
All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for chiming in. Yay. I love it.
Yay.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started because, people know me. I talk a lot, but they want to know about you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you're the big deal. You are the person who's here today. So first things first, like tell us just a little bit, because when us people are told to tell about ourselves, we want to start from birth. So let me not go there. Just a little bit about us, Mrs. East Coast, and share a little bit about you. And then I have some more questions for you as well.
So just a little bit about me. I am 40 years old. For those that don't know, people get shocked when I tell them. I am a grandmother and yes, a grandmother.
Hold on. So I told my sons, because I'm 41, I said, if you make me a grandmother, we're going to have problems. But bless your heart, because you are a gracious, sweet person, clearly. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. He's married. He's been married for 6 years, so I can't get mad at that. So it wasn't, out of wedlock or anything. I am a wife. I've been married for 5 years to my wonderful husband, Vernon. And I am a country girl. I am from Emporia, Virginia. So I love to cook. I like to throw down in the kitchen. And I like crafting. I love modeling. And I love my business. And I love speaking to people. I love uplifting people. That is my passion in life. I believe that's why God put me here. And so it's kind of natural for me, it's not forced. And so that is just who I am.
Nice. So share with us about your personal platform, or better yet, your why. Like, why did you choose? Like, why are you here? Like, what's going on?
See, now you're going to make me bring out the tissues.
That's
Look,
okay. Bring out the tissue.
I'm not going to mess up this makeup, So my why, I entered into this pageant originally as a Mrs. Curvey contestant. After my disease, I have GBS, which is called Guillain-Barré syndrome. In 2019, January 24th of 2019, I will never forget that day. I end up going completely paralyzed from the waist down. And after that, I gained so much weight after trying to get myself better, just to walk and, not even knowing if I was going to live, because majority of the people don't live through that disease because it's very, very hard to detect. It resembles itself as so many other things, MS. And so, of course, that's what they thought I had, but that was not what I had. So I end up being almost 300 pounds. I could not walk on my legs. I couldn't stand on my legs. When I left out of the rehab hospital, I was still in a wheelchair. I have a video that they took when I was leaving out of the rehab hospital. I didn't want nobody taking pictures of me or nothing. I was just so down.
Right.
And so when I entered into this pageant, I was a size 16. I had no idea that, number one, I would get picked, because I'm like, as a little Black girl, I'm like, first of all, I never see Black women in pageants, and I definitely never saw voluptuous Black women in pageants.
Well, let me talk about that really quickly, because you're correct, right? This industry, I mean, it wasn't until 1970 that the oldest pageant in America, which was Miss America, even allowed Black women.
Exactly.
Like, you had to be white up until 1969 to even compete. So you know, I totally get that, you know, what you saw when you think of pageant, you don't think beautiful brown women, right?
No.
Absolutely. So that's just a little history for you guys who are watching. Like, when people, oh, what does she mean? No, this wasn't a thing at all, especially in America at all.
Right. It was not.
For decades and centuries, it was not a thing that we could not be the face of America. But continue.
Right. So when I just didn't think I was going to get picked. And so when I got that email from Laura, and my original title was Mrs. Curvey East Coast. And I told her, I said, you know, after I had my gastric bypass surgery, because I had to, I literally could not walk. And so I said, by that time, I don't think that I'm going to be that size. I don't know what size I'm going to be, but I don't think that I'm going to be a size 14. And she said, well, don't worry about it. We'll deal with it then. And so as time came up, I still was like, kind of surreal to me when I got that call. And so my purpose for even entering in the pageant, I said to myself, if I ever was able to walk again, I was going to do things that I was scared to do, that I had never done before in my life. So whether I got rejected or not, then that's what I was going to do. So that's why I entered into this pageant. And mainly because I saw you, I saw all of the other current delegates, and I said, wow, this is well-rounded. I don't see just, you know, these tiny little white women that are just from America or
right.
I mean, we have some of everyone from everywhere. I mean, it's just so amazing. So that was one of the reasons why I did it. And I chose this particular organization to join, because I saw myself, I saw some of my friends, I saw my coworkers, I saw my schoolmates. I mean, whoever I saw, and I said, it's representing everyone. Absolutely. So it meant so much to me, and I was so honored. And even today, it's still kind of surreal. I wake up in the morning or I go to appearances, and this little girl ran up to me Saturday at the appearance that I was doing. She just ran up to me. Oh my God, you're a princess. She might have been maybe about 3 or 4. Yeah. And I mean, that kind of stuff, when they see you and see their likeness in you and they run up to you or something, I can't even explain the feeling that gives you. So definitely those are the reasons that I joined pageantry and this particular pageant system in itself.
Well, I would like to say I contributed to some of that. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, it's awesome because the founder, our president, even though she has blonde hair, she is Latina.
She is
Latina. Yes. She's married to a Greek man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a very diverse staff, and oftentimes, sometimes the representation hasn't been there in pageantry because of the lack of confidence in people that have melanin in their skin. Right. You're already feeling like the stacks are against you. And I'm grateful to my father, who's in heaven, who was like, no, you're the best. It's fine. Exactly. So for me, I will never forget when my Tia, who you guys are probably familiar with, she's a choreographer for Mrs. Globe. She was actually my choreographer when I was a pageant director many years ago, but amazing woman. And she recruited me, and I was like, listen, I'm not going to be the affirmative action pick. I'm not going to be just you can have a brown face in the audience.
Brown body.
If I can't actually win this because everybody looks like this, I'm not doing it, Right. And she's like, no, this is an international world pageant, like the playing field's equal kind of a thing. And also, of course, after speaking to Dr. Tracy, I was in the heightened stages of, George Floyd and all that.
Right.
And I'll never forget, Shamila, I didn't really understand like the how to do things in Globe yet. So I messaged her on Facebook and I'm like, what do you think about George Floyd and Black Lives Matter? I wasn't a delegate yet. I'm just like, I want to know what you have to say, before I joined this pageant. Like I was, all cylinders, having 3 sons in this heightened, emotional, situation. I'm just like, I want to know.
Yeah.
So she goes live 40 minutes later, literally, like on her own page. I'm like, and she begins to share her own personal story and her being Latina and dating someone who wasn't, and how she was profiled, and you just want a bunch of kids with cars on your lawn and all kinds of stuff, and just sharing her own personal story.
Yeah.
And I was like, if the politicians could actually explain things the way you did, we'd probably be in a better space. But after that, I was like, okay, Tia, sign me up. I'm ready to go. Let's go. And so just knowing that at the higher up level, right? That's the mindset of just understanding about what global beauty is. It's not a certain demographic. It's not a certain, standard or whatever, right? It's the person who's going ultimately to best represent the brand, but also best be able to influence, impact, communicate, and resonate with the world. Right? So my next question to you is, what are you most excited about the upcoming pageant in Palm Springs?
Oh my God, I'm excited about everything. I am so excited about everything. This is literally my first pageant. I modeled before, as you've already said, but pageantry is a totally different thing. There is so much preparation. There is heightened, you're just excited. The more it gets closer and closer, you're like, oh, well, do I have this dress? Do I have that? Do I have this? And oh my gosh, just to be in the presence of other human beings and in this magnitude, you have to think we are coming out of COVID. Right. And how many of us, I work from home, so I don't interact with people unless I go out. So I am looking forward to seeing all of you, being able to just hug you guys and fellowship. And I am looking forward to walking that stage. Okay,
so the stage is intense. I'm just going to tell you this right now. So I heard that the stage is going to be outside this year, which is super fabulous. Like,
yes.
The resort that they're at is just, you're going to feel like you're a celebrity the entire time. That's just how they do things. And, I've competed in other pageants before. And so going to Globe was like overwhelming, like, oh my God, like I'm important, and so you're talking about walking that stage, girl. I'm telling you, that's going to be something that you really are going to have to really embrace, but also embrace your elegance as a woman. I think oftentimes we're like, oh, we're gonna go do our thing, but it's like Mrs. Globe is a woman of elegance, right? She's a woman of prestige and glamour and sexiness and all those things. And the cool part is that Tia, who is the choreographer, she's dope, but you need to listen to everything she says to do. So
yes, she is.
I'm gonna tell you that off top. Like, don't let her little voice fool you. Like, just be early when she says come at this. Just be early. That's all I'm gonna say. But about that, so you're gonna be definitely an amazing experience at Globe. Let's see, we have some comments. What are the comments? Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, yes, it is Teresa. So Teresa, has been around Globe for many years. She competed as in your division, and she's competed as a curvée, and she was our 2020 Mrs. Curvée Classique. So she's amazing. She knows all about the ebbs and flows of competing outside and inside. So she definitely can speak on how that stage is. Okay. All right. So my next question for you is, what part of the competition are you most excited about and why?
I would say probably I'm ready to see what choreography dance numbers we have to do. Like I'm excited about
the competition, girl, the competition. The dance is not judged, okay? The competition.
Anything that's judged, I would say.
So let me remind you of what's being judged, okay? Your personality profile. Mm-hmm. That's your 60-second speech on stage, whatever you're going to share. Your swimsuit, and then your evening gown. So it's like, can this woman talk? Can she silence a room? And can she be fierce on stage? What is your most exciting part of the competition?
I would probably say my evening gown.
Okay.
And the reason why I say my evening gown, it went a lot of thought into it. It was literally...
So it's a custom garment.
Custom made,
Okay.
yes. Custom made. It was actually 2 different dresses that I put together. And I found this wonderful designer, Go Million Designs. And I sent her, I said, I want these 2 dresses. I don't know what aspect, actually it was 3. I want these 3 dresses, and I sent them to her. She cut them up and put it together and sent me back the design.
So you sent her physical dresses that she...
No, I sent her the design. So actual pictures of 3 different dresses. And she actually cut what parts out of the dress that I wanted. She put them all back together, and she printed out the design. And I said, oh my, that is my dress. That is my dress. So I am very, very excited to wear this dress. And I am excited for everyone else to see this dress. I won't even see it until she's finished. I do go in for a fitting, but it will not have all of the things on it. So
that still will give you an idea, you know.
Yeah.
That's I'm glad, you know, it's so funny. So I've been in the pageant industry since 2007, but my first custom gown actually was for this pageant. So when I competed in 2020, I don't know, part of it was because, you know, I was coming out of my own healing journey and choosing me. And I wanted to showcase my healing through competition. Because pageantry has carried me through some very dark seasons of life. You know, my father passing away, getting out of a domestic violence relationship and being homeless was my second major pageant title. I was literally homeless when I was a former pageant title, featured in People magazine and everything, and had no place to live at the same time, right? But Mrs. Globe was the stage that I showcased, not that I've arrived, right? Because we never arrive, we're always working, but my healed self. And so I was like, I want a custom gown. So I'd never paid that much money for a gown. But I did it, and I'm so grateful. I remember, get ready for this, Shamila. So I think it's day 1 or 2. They're going to make you guys all come out in all your wardrobe. They want to see everything. Everything. They want to make sure it ain't hoochie, it ain't crazy, your nylons aren't crazy. You know what I'm saying? They have a production to do, right? Yeah. And so I'll never forget coming out there, and Laura, you know, I loved it. She was like getting all the staff to come over to look at my gown. She's like, and I'm standing there like, now the corset wasn't all the way done because I was like, that's not taking long, but just put it on to where they wear there. She's like, you know, and I'm standing there. I'm like, can I take it off now? You know, it's white.
So you're like, I don't
know. So I remember this being the pageant that I decided to do my first custom. And then last year when I crowned the new title holder, all my gowns were custom by our actual gown designer, Puri Boutique. So it was you know, my first time ever delving into the whole custom situation. You know, my first title was like an eBay gown that I like doctored up, and the second gown was like, I don't know where I got it from. Oh, I think I got it from like a warehouse by my house, and like this was like, I'm doing custom. This is coming out like I'm new now. This is Globe. Like I'm doing it. You know, and not knowing that I was going to be vying for the international title, you know. So that's great that you've invested that, you know. So your gown, like, and Shamila, the gown is it's almost like the moment where we can see you operating and moving as Mrs. USofA. My bad. You switched titles. Okay, hold on. Mrs. USofA Globe. Yes. You know, and okay, so Teresa's comment is hilarious because she was like the short white lady. I was the tall black lady, and she was my first runner up, and we're holding hands, and she's like in a short black gown, and I'm in like a tall white gown. It was funny. I call her my Kevin Hart.
Oh.
But yes. So yes, no, that was my first time ever custom making a gown. And if you're gonna custom do something, Mrs. Globe is definitely the system to do that in. Yes, you are my white Kevin Hart.
Oh, that's so
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Though I don't know if you've even seen us holding hands. Like she's literally comes up to here and she's in heels. I'm in heels. Like she comes up to like my boobs. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So yes. Okay. So you told me you're most excited about evening gown.
Yeah.
Now, what I would like to know is what is it that you want the judges, if you could talk to the judges right now, because they're probably going to watch this. I'm just going to keep it real.
Probably.
It's usually alumni and sponsors. So they probably will because they love me and they're following me. So they probably will. No pressure. It's fine. But what would you, if you could tell the judges anything, like what would you want to tell them?
Just really about my journey, how I got here. It's very important for me. I am also a domestic violence survivor. I went through that as a teenager. So that molded me into the woman that I am. I'm very passionate about everything that I do, regardless if I leave with the title of Miss USofA Globe or I leave with my current title. I told this to one of the little girls in the pageant that I was judging a couple of weeks ago, and I heard her say, I'm so afraid I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win. And I had to tell her, you are always a winner. You will always have a title. You have a name, you always have a title. And be proud in that. So what this means to me, the magnitude of just being able, and that's why I said to walk across that stage, because January 24th, 2019, January 24th, 2020, I couldn't. I couldn't. So I also said, yes, we're competing against each other, right? But it's not a competition for me.
That's good.
That's not why I'm doing this, to compete against the other Globettes. I'm doing it for me because I want to prove to myself and, like I said, walk across that stage.
That's so good. And I love what you're saying, because oftentimes people do believe, like, here's the thing. So I went through my own stuff, right? Where I was like, okay, Mrs. Globe, everyone's white or Asian, like all their skin is like, I don't look like any of these people. I don't have the European aesthetic of whatever. I mean, I was so like, but, Tia, bless her heart, Tia, yay. She knows me, she's like, Tasha, it's okay. And I'm like,
it's okay, right.
But I was concerned because I was like, I don't want to set myself up for failure. I'm not trying to be, and so I understand what those young women were saying, right?
Right.
Where, not that I don't think I'm beautiful or whatever, but when you are competing in a potential demographic or a ideal that this is a certain type of thing. Right?
Yes.
You have some other concerns. And I did. And so I'm so grateful that you overcame those for yourself, even prior to being in the pageant, right?
Yes.
And now you can present yourself as a healthier version of you and everything else. So now my next question is for you to share a little bit out. And again, for those of you other Globettes who didn't want to come on this first show, yes, she gets more than 6 minutes because she had the guts. I was going to say something else. The guts to do this. So she gets a little more questions. Sorry. It's a part of the video. But I would like to know, like, can you share with us a little bit about like what your actual disease is and how it impacted you, more so physically, and why, getting the surgery was important for you to do?
So, Guillain-Barré syndrome is an autoimmune disease, and it attacks your nervous system. So you have to think your nervous system is the biggest system in your body. It controls everything. I mean, literally everything. So it starts from the bottom up. So it starts in your feet, starts to mess with those nerves. Just imagine your whole body going to sleep, because that's what it feels like. At first it was pain, and then the pain turned into numbness, and then the numbness turned into nothing. So, and that's how it ends up killing you. It moves up, it then affects all of the nerves. That means your organs, everything. It doesn't, they don't know where it comes from. It's not predominant in this country. It's predominant in a lot of third world countries, so they say. But with me having this disease, I was able to meet a lot of people in this country that have it. You would not believe the reason that most people say that they have it from taking a flu shot.
Actually, I would believe that, which is why I don't do that.
I don't either. Because I had one in my life. One in my life. I've had one in my life. And I guarantee you, none of you have probably read the back of the flu shot pamphlet. Guess what it says? You can get GBS. Or if you have GBS, don't take vaccines. So right now, I cannot take vaccinations. I will never be cured of this disease because there's no cure. Because if they can't pinpoint exactly where it comes from, they can't create a cure for it. So Johns Hopkins actually has a unit for GBS and CIDP, which is a version of Guillain-Barré syndrome. And that's where I end up going in the end. So it got to me all the way up to right below my breastbone. So I was literally paralyzed from there down. I lost all bowel function. I lost all urinary function. Do you know, I mean, that was probably the most humiliating part of it. You know, I'm like, I'm not an older person, you know, I want to wipe my own butt, you know, I don't want other people, like, I don't want other people doing that for me. So just being humiliated, you know, even in that aspect, it does something to you mentally. So I had to end up getting, you know, some therapy, mental health, because you're like, what is going on with me? One day you're a normal person, and the next day you're just dependent upon everyone for everything in your life. And it takes you to a whole different place, like I said, mentally. I was able to meet a lot of people in the hospital, and it affects even kids. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It was this little, maybe I might have been about 8 years old. And he was in Johns Hopkins with me. And I watched his parents come every day. He was worse off than me because he was on a ventilator. So it had already paralyzed his lungs. And once you get to that point, maybe 20% of people come from that. Or either they die. And I was fighting.
You were in the 20%.
I'm in the 20%.
You are. And you are amazing for that. And I think, you know, when people think about these types of things, right, but if it doesn't affect them specifically, right, they're like, you know, okay, that's fine. But it actually directly affected you. Yes. And what's so beautiful, though, is that God preserved you.
Yeah.
And you've lost the weight, and you're operating healthy, and you're able to be a queen and a champion for that. And I think that is so, oh my gosh, so beautiful. Emily, thank you. Oh yay, Emily. She's so sweet. She's an alumni. She's amazing. So my next question to you is a person that's, let's say, overcoming a debilitating disease, if you will. What would you say to them as far as how they should operate in their life? Because oftentimes when people get a diagnosis, like me in August, I got a diagnosis that I had cervical cancer. And I was kind of like, but then the next month I went to New York Fashion Week and I had my billboard in the Times Square. And I was kind of like, okay, I think I was a little bit not all the way grasping it. But, I think it's just some people handle things differently. They retract and they regress. But what, would you say to women who maybe get a very troubling diagnosis on how to shine and how to have the courage to do something like you're doing, right? Like competing in a huge competition. Like Mrs. Globe is the world pageant for misses in the world. It's not like a little deal. It's like a big deal. You know what I'm saying? So like, what would you say to a woman like that?
So I would definitely say to them, use what you have gone through to drive you forward. Because somebody sent me a message today in my inbox. I posted it on my Facebook. I, of course, blacked out her name, redacted her information. But she was saying that what I've been saying and what I've been doing and just how I've been out with it has given her the courage to, realize and to come to the forefront and to want to be like me. It's a healing. It's healing for me.
There you go.
It's healing for me. If you want to get out of that, it's healing for you. Use that to push you forward. Every day that I wake up and I do something, I think back to that. I could be back there any day because there is no cure. I could get off here with you and try to stand up and my legs be gone again. So I live my life. I have no second left. Live your life like you have no second left. Do the unthinkable. Do the things that you really thought that you could not do. If you don't, you miss out.
That's so good.
At least try. If you fail, guess what? You tried it. You learned something. So there's no failing.
Well, and that's a very counterintuitive mindset, right? Because when we think we don't have anything and we think we can't be anything, we have a tendency to be like, I'm not going to do anything.
Yep. Yeah.
But really, when we don't have anything, that's when you should do something.
Exactly.
And, it's crazy to me how many times, like, people would never know based on my social media or whatever, the challenges that I face.
Right.
None. But I'm like, as I'm giving and I'm sowing and I'm doing, God is healing.
Yes.
And I think that, or, even as Dr. Tracy would call them, the divine or whatever, the universe, however you want to put it, whatever name is on the door, for you specifically. But me, it's God. It's like my husband, it's Allah, like whoever it is. It's like, I can do this, right? Yeah. And it's through that action. And I think something that people don't understand about pageantry, which is one thing I love, and I educate people, especially our people, brown people, is see what Emily had to say. Kick your pain into purpose. Yes, that's Emily.
Right. That's right.
Okay, Em.
Let's go. Right.
So Emily just took everything I said. Okay, that's right. So, but no, that's facts, right?
Yes. Definitely.
And there's times where I'm like, no, I'm just in pain. I don't want to be a purpose. I don't want to help nobody. I don't want to do anything. I'm just in pain.
Yeah.
But when you're helping and inspiring other people, it's amazing. She's so cute. It's amazing. It's amazing how you can heal in the process, right?
Yes.
You're turning your pain into purpose, but in the pain, right, is a process. And in the process, you're healing.
Yeah.
And so what's been crazy for me is like, while people maybe disqualified me is, how much my cousin? Sorry. My beautiful cousin. She's so gorgeous. But, when you're going through pain, the natural thing is to recluse.
Right.
Hide. Be ashamed. Right. But it's like, no.
Right.
And so when you're helping others, in helping your healing.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I hear you're saying is like, and you helping in you healing yourself, you were helping other people. And that was me too. Like, it's not about I arrived and I'm amazing and whatever, right? It's like, no, but through these process, like, it's so funny, Shamila, pageantry has been like almost like a therapy for me, because my first crown I won in 2010 when I was Miss Plus America, I had just lost my father. I was going through grief and everything else, and I won it for him. People thought I was pointing to God, but I was pointing to my father, right?
Right.
In 2015, I won my next national title. And that was I was coming out of a domestic violence relationship, and I was homeless with a brand new baby, breastfeeding in between competition wardrobe changes. And then my third major pageant was Mrs. Curvey Globe, and that was me coming out as the healed version of Tasha.
Right.
And so we think that we have to stop everything to get ourselves together. But really, there's opportunity and there's healing in that, right?
Oh,
she's so
sweet.
Cute. You're in DC, Virginia. You're in Virginia too, right?
Yeah.
Y'all are close to each other. She's in like
Okay.
the DC area too. My cousin is. But and so I think that sometimes we think we have to hide and stop to heal, and oftentimes doing and going is a part of the healing process.
Exactly.
So I would love for you to share. This wasn't on the list of things that I told you, but I feel like you would handle it, just Camila. Since you came out here bold as the first person.
Hey, ladies, what happened?
I know there were. Okay.
That's okay.
You led the way, and you look beautiful leading that way.
Thank you.
I would like to know, what are you doing to prepare your mind and your heart for pageant week? Because here's the thing. It is a competition at the end of the day.
It is at the end of the day.
And what I love about Mrs. Globe is that, yes, Mrs. Globe is the financial vehicle for the Women in Need Foundation.
Right.
They're not one and the same. That's what people, a lot of times they lose that, right?
Yeah.
So the WIN Foundation is a vehicle, is a way for women to heal from their brokenness and become whole, whether it's through Reclaiming Me or whatever. She has multiple programs, right? That cost thousands of dollars. But because of Mrs. Globe, she uses that money to fund that program, so women for just $10 a week can be made whole. Right? Yes. Okay, so just a little clarity. So with that being said, though, like, what are you doing to get your head in gear? The fact that this is a competition, because it is.
So it is. I go to therapy every week. I do. I'm just telling you.
He's like, preparing for the competition. I see my shrink.
Yes, I do, because I have to.
I love it.
I have to get my mind. I still have a lot of fears because of my disease. I could be walking that stage and my legs give out. I mean, I could literally go paralyzed on stage. So I could go paralyzed driving from the airport. These things I have to really be able to develop things to put that stuff in the back of my mind so that I can focus. So my therapist helps me with that. She helps me develop techniques to where I can say, okay, I'm not going to focus on that. Let me focus on something else. And honestly, it's so much that we have to do, and so many outfits and things we have to prepare for. And
so much fun, though. The changes are fun.
It is exciting because I go through my pack list and I'm like, "Ooh, I can buy this.
Girl, you look
cute the
whole time. I love it.
So I'm definitely doing that, and just saying to myself, as each day gets closer, it's just so exciting. So I have to I keep myself grounded, because like you said, I've been told so many times when we get there, we're going to feel like celebrity. I feel like one already from getting
100%. Girl, let me tell you, okay? Listen, I could be there during a pandemic and I felt like a celebrity. So I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, she was like, so I have to prepare for that. But even with having this title now, I feel like a celebrity. I go places and people are looking at me, and I have to block people on a daily. I have like groupies and stuff. I have groupies and stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm blocking you. Like, don't contact me unless it's for business purposes. And I've been afforded so many opportunities. I am working with America's Next Top Model. I leave actually the week before pageant week to go and do a showcase with them. And I come back to come to the pageant. So
hold on, pause. So That's dope. That's amazing. So what are you going to be
Thank you.
doing let's talk about it. What are you going to be doing for them? Because, you know, it's funny. I was you don't get to call her this, but I call her DT, Dr. Tracy. I've earned that right. But anyway, but what I tell, you know, DT is I'm like, hey, I have this, you know, these different things going on, but share with us, like, how did you connect to America's Next Top Model and what are you going to be doing? That's amazing. We'd love to follow that.
It was so crazy because I thought it was a scam. Like, for real. I really thought it was a scam.
I feel you on that.
Because I'm like, so many people have been like reaching out to me and like trying to.
Right.
I'm like, no, wrong person. So Victoria Henley, which is one of the contestants that was on America's Next Top Model, she has branched off on her own after winning and started her own thing for young women that are trying to get into the modeling industry. So she is actually having a showcase, and she personally reached out to me. That's why I thought it was a scam. Personally reached out to me. She said she had been following me, had been following my story, and she wanted me to come and be a part of it. So I still didn't think it was real until she actually called my cell phone. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And then, so we just talked, and we kind of talk almost, you know, every day. She's between her traveling back and forth. There were so many other things that they had going on that I could not attend. Like, they just did a shoot at the Versace mansion. Yes. I wish I would have known about that.
That's everything.
Yeah, right.
Know, I mean, you know.
So I would have loved to do that, but I will be going and representing my Mrs. Globe family at this showcase. And so I was afforded that opportunity. I also have been made into a comic book character. So I mean,
so I'm mad because I totally see that though.
You did? I did totally. Yeah. Oh my God.
What are you, a superhero or what?
A superhero. Her name is Rose.
Of course you are.
With red hair, and people that do know me know that during the summertime, and this is because these people didn't know me, the people that drew the comic, they had no idea. But during the summertime, I have this thing called, where I call it the summer of colors, and I dye my hair all these different colors. Okay. And this bright red is one of the hair colors. And guess what? This Rose has bright red hair. And so, you know, I'm very excited about that. So I'll be going to Chicago after this pageant. And so it's afforded me so many opportunities. So I'm so grateful. So even just thinking about what comes next, that grounds me, that gets me prepared, because I really owe a lot to this system. I really do. And because without it, I would not have gotten the courage to even do any of these things. I would not have done it. And
that's so good.
So that grounds me, and that gets me ready, because I'm like, I owe it to these people. I owe it to my Globette sisters. I owe it to this foundation. I owe it to this globe society, because it's a global.
So with that being said, you know, if you had somebody who was on the line, I want to do Globe, I want to do this pageant, I want to do that pageant, what should I do? What would you say to them to say, hey, you need to be a part of the Globettes, you need to be a part of the Mrs. Globe opportunity? What would you say?
So I would definitely say it is a well-rounded pageant system. I feel like it represents everyone. If you want representation for yourself, no matter what you feel you look like, no matter what you feel is normally looked at as beautiful, no matter what society tells you is beautiful, this pageant will make everybody feel beautiful. And it is so accepting. And the relationships, even with you, the relationships that I have already been able to build with my Globette sisters. When I tell you some powerful stuff, so I can already tell you when this week comes and we're all there, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be exciting.
Oh, I cried the entire week. My competition week, I cried.
Yeah.
The entire that's not, you're going to cry. You're going to be impacted. You're going to be emotional. Because it is so powerful.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm grateful what you're saying, because oftentimes, we put things in a box of where we can get certain experiences or whatever, right? And I had no idea. I'm a pastor's kid. I came from all kinds of different things, right? But when I went to Mrs. Globe my first year, I was like, I couldn't stop crying. I was like, I'm a big Black crybaby. Like, this is not okay. Like, there's video of me crying. Like, I was her brother, who's the videographer. I'm like, stop! Like, I'm crying. But it was so real. You know what I'm saying? It was so real, and it's so authentic. And of course, everyone can't win or whatever, and they're real about that. Because there is the competition piece. But there's also the piece of personal enhancement and growth and understanding who you are. Right?
Exactly.
Like I said, I walked into this thinking, man, everybody you crowned has been white, look white, or could identify as white. Like, please. European features. Like, I told Tia, I said, Tia, so listen, I appreciate you and all, but no, like, so I was very like, but she's like, no, it'll be fun. I'll promote it, but I'm not doing it, And then the second year, I just directly reached out to Dr. Tracy, and I was like, what do you think about George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter? I was not even like gentle about it. And bless her heart, I had no idea like the hierarchy and Laura and all that. I had no idea. I just asked her on Facebook, and she went live and she said, and I just, I was like, okay. And regardless of what happened, I knew like I had to put my best foot forward. And so I really believe that, putting your best foot forward, whatever that is, whatever that looks like,
whatever it looks like to you.
And something like my sister queen, she was my predecessor, Alicia Plose. She was the Mrs. Curvey Globe before me, 2019. And she used to always say, like, putting, your beauty forward, whatever that looks like, right? And that's how I feel about this whole program, whatever that looks like. Whatever it looks like for you, right? Is putting that forward, knowing that you're not going to have any regrets when you walk away.
Exactly.
But I thank you. I thank you so much for being on the show. I think, oh my gosh, okay, I have a little bit of time, but thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing who you are and your why and a little bit about you and looking beautiful doing it. Like, you're so, you can tell I'm a veteran. So I'm like, I'm going to show up in a random African outfit, But the funny part about it is because this is a world pageant, Dr. Tracy, like, the first thing she said to me, and I don't know, she's going to watch this later. She's flying to Greece right now. So Dr. Tracy, when I won and I was sitting down, she goes, we have to get you to Africa. Like, she's so big on the international inclusiveness. And she, made sure I knew genetically, not just family tree, like DNA swab, where I came from. She wanted to know, she wanted me to know that so I could represent in that type of power. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that is something that I'm so grateful for with her and this organization, and recognizing all races, all cultures. It's really powerful. You're going to be very overwhelmed. Like, I'm excited because I had a little bit of exposure. And one thing I said last year when I was getting up my title, I said, my worldview has been illuminated. My worldview has been real.
That's my mom.
Let's go, Mom. You should be proud. She's amazing. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's ready. You know, and my worldview was, my whole life was rocked. Because I saw the world one way. But being a part of Globe opened my eyes. I'm telling you, watch this.
You see it totally different.
You get there, you're going to see people from Korea and China and Australia and Africa. You're going to be like, oh my gosh. Like, it's so,
our Monday meetings are like,
it's so humbling.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Teresa. It's so humbling to realize what the bigger picture is. And that's what
Right.
Globe is understanding the bigger picture. It's like our actual president is an immigrant.
Right.
Her husband is an immigrant. They're not like American, American, whatever. Like they are immigrants, so they understand the bigger picture. And so I'm so grateful to have you. Is there anything else you want to say before I show a cute little clip of Mrs. Globe? Is there anything else you want to share with the audience before we let you go?
No, I'm very, like I said, I'm very excited. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Tasha, for having me. I want to say to our Globette sisters, I look forward to seeing all of you. To our Globette sisters that are in Russia and Ukraine right now, we are standing with you guys, and we pray that you are able to make it to join in with us as well. And I love you, love you, love you, love you all. Kisses.
I just did a choose you for Mrs. Ukraine, so I think she's coming. I'm super excited for that.
I am too. Yeah.
Yes, I am. So don't go anywhere, Shamila. Okay. Thank you so much for being on, but don't go anywhere. You guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick little fun clip about Mrs. Globe, and hopefully you guys will all tune in again. The next 5 weeks, I'll be continuing my series for the Mrs. Globe Countdown. Well, thank you guys for joining the Tasha Frazier Show, episode 1 with the Mrs. Globe 2022 countdown. Of course, I'm doing a countdown. I was a former Mrs. Curvey Globe. Hello. But thank you guys for tuning in. And next week, oh my gosh, you guys, we have 9 delegates from Mrs. Curvey Globe. So Shamila was the brave one to start out this week, but the following weeks will be up to 10 delegates interviewing. So what's super exciting is I'm going to have actually 9 delegates next week. Oh my God. It's going to be pretty dope. I can't wait. I'm excited. So thank you, Shamila, for sharing your story and being bold and being courageous and taking on this first episode. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys. Remember, what does Tasha say? That it's never, ever too late to choose you, change your path, and walk in your parentheses divine purpose. I appreciate you guys for watching. Take care. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.